The other day in math class, I'll admit I was daydreaming a little bit. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I started thinking about the number 0. It's a strange number, and I started wondering about how 0 works.
Okay, so what exactly do you mean?
Well, I'm not totally sure. I started thinking about it how 0 is different from other numbers and I got a bit confused. I was wondering if you could help me figure it out.
I'd be happy to. First, let's look at the properties of this unique number. What does the number 0 mean?
I guess it means nothing. It isn't an amount, it's like a lack of something. I also know that 0 isn't a positive or negative number.
Right. Also, we can remember that 0 is useful as a placeholder in numbers and is important in decimals. Interestingly, the Egyptians had a symbol for 0 all the way back in 1740 BC, and they used it as a placeholder. However, historians think it wasn't until the 9th century AD in India that the number 0 we use today was conceived and recorded. So how does the number 0 behave in the different mathematical operations? Let's start with addition and subtraction.
Well, I know that if you add 0 to any number, that number doesn't change. The same is true with subtraction. I think that because of that, we call 0 the additive identity.
Exactly. 0 is called the additive identity because if you add 0 to any number, the number retains its identity. It doesn't change. How about multiplication?
Well, if you multiply any number by 0, I know that the product will be 0. I guess that's because multiplication is like repeated addition. If I multiply 5 by 3, that means that I had 5 3 times. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. So, if I multiply 0 by 3, we could think of it as 0 plus 0 plus 0. Adding 0 3 times, you still get 0.
Good. And what about dividing a number into 0?
Well, I know that division means to break something down into equal parts. For example, 6 divided by 3 is 2 because if I take 6 things and separate them into 3 equal sections, each section will have 2 things in it. But, if I have nothing and divide it into 1, 2, 3, 4 or any number of parts, I will still have nothing. So, division into 0 is still 0. 0 divided by any number is 0.
Very nice. Now for the real kicker, dividing a number by 0.
I've been thinking about this, and it seems trickier to understand than the other operations. If, for instance, I divide 6 by 1, then I am making only one section of 6, so the answer is 6. But, when I divide 6 into 0 parts, it doesn't really work. How can I divide something into no parts? I don't think this really works, am I right?
Yes, that's right. Division by 0 doesn't make logical sense. You can divide something into one part, but not into no parts. So, in mathematics, we say that division by 0 is undefined. In other words, it doesn't equal a number. And it doesn't equal nothing, which is 0. It doesn't equal anything, because it can't be done.
Thanks. I definitely understand 0 better now. But, I have one last question.
This should be good. What's your question?
What if I have nothing, and I divide by nothing? What is 0 divided by 0?
That's an excellent question. We are out of time for today, so let's save that for next class.